Welcome. It's July 5th, 2022. My name is Joe Weston, and we're here, as always, for our weekly online practice for reviving the global heart. And as always, it's great to see familiar faces, faces that we see regularly, faces we see once in a while, but still part of our community and in our hearts. And always great to see new people. And and especially now, it seems like things are really accelerating in terms of intensity around the United States, certainly, but around the world. I'm always in contact with and in the dialogue with Alessandro, who's here, my brother Alessandro, about his views on what's happening in the world and in Italy and in Europe. And last week we talked about that. That what I was offering was, especially for here, what's going on in the U.S. I think there's benefit in not exclusively this or that, but to be very focused on what's happening locally, and also to remember that this is all in a global context, and that we're beyond. I believe, and I write about this in my book, is that Eleanor Roosevelt in 1960 told us basically, she says, we're either going to live together or we're going to die together, and if we're going to live together, then we have to learn how to talk. So basically, she was telling us in 1960 that this idea of isolationism, this idea of nationalism, this idea of retreating to one's own tribe or group has benefits. It's certainly good to celebrate and feel strong about your identity and who you are. However, it is not. I believe I would interpret what she's saying and what I'm feeling is that it's no longer in alignment with the present moment. That the way the world is with the internet, with nuclear power, nuclear weapons that can wipe us all out thousands and thousands of times over, climate change, economy, global economy, global travel and all of that, global viruses, that it's no longer being truthfully in alignment with what is unfolding if you can't see the global interdependence and interconnectedness. And therefore, that's why I think it's important to really have a more of a global sense, because there's a lot we can learn from other cultures. There's a lot we can learn from history. There's a lot we can learn from perspectives of others. And it really just requires that we find the time and the space, and we have the skills to connect with people we don't know. And as you know, the solution for all of this, it'll always come back to breaking the polarization, the stagnation that's keeping us separate, or creating this rigid mental construct that we are separate. But when we break that, we find that we have more in common than we don't, and that we all have something to learn from each other. We're all holding a piece of the puzzle about what's going to get us through this time. And if we're not talking to each other, we're never going to put the puzzle together. And that really is, so this idea of understanding on a global level what's happening, an historical perspective is important. And I really appreciated our discussion last time, like hearing your voices and your thoughts and your truth around these issues. And I wanted to bring that up. I just wanted to bring that in. What I've been thinking a lot about is this idea of truth and freedom, especially since this weekend was in this country, weekend to celebrate American independence. Idea of independence and freedom. And wondering if we really have, if we still have the same spirit of what that originally meant in terms of where we are now. But I think it's interesting to consider. I use this concept over and over again through all of the work I do, and I'm getting to believe more and more that it is so fundamental to our feeling of what's unfolding. Many of you know I use the concept, my truth does not equal the truth. And on a simple thinking of that, that just implies very simple things. And basically the message of that is that you have your perspective, you have your viewpoints, but that isn't necessarily the truth of a situation. And that the main reason why I developed that was to break one of the, I think the deepest, and I would say even the most insidious habitual patterns that we hold on to that derails any attempts at us finding reconciliation, healing, new solutions, new alliances, which is this idea that, this polarized idea that if you believe that your truth is the truth, then you believe that you're right about what you think or feel or perceive. And if anyone has a different view, they must be wrong. You really, so as soon as you say my truth is the truth, then you're saying that the way you view something is true and any other view is wrong. So it's breaking that pattern of the need to be right. And as you know, I always say one of the lectures that I've given to social justice groups and social reform groups, activist groups, advocates groups, and the title of that is How Your Need to Be Right is Sabotaging Your Mission. And I'm seeing a lot of nods as I'm saying this, and I get that you get this, but I don't think any of us really realize the depth that you can take this. And I bring in my Buddhist studies, which I've been doing full time in a sense with an amazing teacher, my teacher Geshe Sonam Gyaltsen, Tibetan Buddhist teacher, since 1994, highly realized being. And we went into the depths of the philosophies, spent over 2 years doing some studying the highest philosophical Buddhist schools and teachings. And basically for 2 years, we basically studied on the depths of the universe almost, when is something real or not real? When is something true or not true? When does something exist or not exist? I loved it. It was mind-blowing and literally blew my mind and expanded my mind. Because it helped me, and the conclusion I came to is that I can find peace within myself when I truly understand that my truth, I'm not capable of seeing the truth until I become a realized being. That as a human being, I can only perceive so much of the totality of the truth, right? So my truth doesn't equal the truth, doesn't mean that there's no the truth. It doesn't rule it out. A lot of people say, yeah, but what about the truth? There is a the truth. And maybe so, yes, that's not the issue. The issue is, as a human being, can you possibly fathom the totality and the entirety of the truth? In Buddhism, they call that the Dharma. In Taoism, they call that the Tao. And in Christianity, maybe they call that the Word, or what was before the Word, or what was before light, or God. Maybe that's what Christians would, or Jews, or Muslims would call God, the truth, or an understanding of that. I'm not claiming any authority in that. I'm just making suggestions. And I think this is important because you see this happening where people run around just claiming that they know the truth. And on some level it's hubris. Hubris is a Greek term in Greek tragedy, meaning divine pride, meaning that you're and the whole purpose of Greek literature, Greek drama, was to help human beings remember that they're not God. They're not gods. They're not God. They have, in many traditions like Buddhism and Taoism and other mystical traditions would say, we have within us the potential to be a realized being. We have the potential within us to see the totality of the truth. But until that moment happens, we can't possibly see the totality of the truth. We can only see as much of the truth as we can see in this moment that we are capable of. And that, in a sense, and this is the what I think is was a powerful moment for me in my development, was to realize that didn't make me feel limited, it set me free. If I think about this idea that I am that I can only perceive so much of the truth, of course there might be a sense of I'm limited and stifle me and make me feel small and inadequate. But at the same time, it can inspire me to expand my thoughts, to expand my viewpoints, to expand who I am. And that is a feeling of freedom. And I believe that that is what true freedom is the capacity to be able to free ourselves from all of the rigid mental constructs that we hold on to, all of the limited ways that we view ourselves, we view others, we view reality, we view issues. Because for many of us, most of the beliefs that we currently hold aren't even ours. We learn them from our parents or from our religious institution or government or schools or peers, on and on. And that to me is what giving up our freedom is. When we give up our independent critical thinking and we allow others to think for us, we allow others to tell our stories for us. We let others create our story. And a lot of the work that we do here with Fierce Civility is who's telling your story and how can you get back to create your story, which means freeing yourself of a lot of the mental constructs that you haven't taken the time yet to examine to believe to be true. What's unfortunate is that a lot of people aren't doing this. A lot of people who claim to have this kind of capacity might be learning a lot of information and gathering a lot of wisdom and know how to speak it and say it, but they haven't done the integration and process of it. And still holding on to a lot of rigid views. So basically taking new information and fitting it into their already existing worldview, reinforcing what they already have, making it more rigid. Or what I think is also unfortunate is a lot of people break free of old viewpoints and how they see themselves. They open to a new one, and then they take that on as their new dogma and get trapped in that as well. They start then seeing the world again in a limited way through that perspective. And that the practice that I'm offering is the practice we do here every week is that what we're doing is on a weekly basis is we're slowly softening the rigidity of our mental constructs that keep us imprisoned or limited or stuck, so that we can, with the softening of that, we can be free. And when I announced this session on Facebook, I used an image with a quote that said something to the effect of true strength. A sign of true strength is maintaining a soft heart in a cruel world. And in essence, that is what we're practicing here, is to practice continually softening our hearts with power, with vulnerability, with stability, making sure we're safe. And then from there, we can find our freedom. Actually, I want to quote a Bible verse from the Christian Protestant Bible, James 8:32. I never thought you'd hear me doing that, but here I go. You will know the truth, and the truth will set you free. And in essence, and I've had a talk with a good friend of mine, Pastor Paul Swearinga, who has come and been a guest here before, and he will confirm that basically what that is saying. Jesus was basically saying is that for for community to thrive, it has to soften its hearts, it has to soften its rigidity, so that it can open to new ideas, and that is what thriving is. And that you will know the truth simply means softening the hard-heartedness and the rigidity of the mental constructs that we're holding on to. And it is in that process that you will become free. And this is a key element in for our own personal freedom. And from a also a Buddhist perspective from a Mahayana tradition, which is cultivating the compassionate heart to be of service to as many beings as possible, is that one, one is never free until everyone is free. Reverend Angel Kyoto Williams, an amazing Buddhist teacher. If you don't know her, please check her out. And social justice activists. That's the depth of her, the crux of her practice. Is that, and we've talked about this idea of freedom before. I've mentioned this before. But in essence, whether it's your own personal freedom or liberation, whether it's your personal freedom and liberation for yourself as well as for others, it's this practice of understanding that my truth does not equal the truth is the key that unlocks your freedom, inner personal freedom. So you got me on a rant there, and thank you for listening. And I hope that resonated in a certain way. So as always, what I want to do is take this into our practice. And as you know, for those of you who are here for a regular basis, for those of you who are here for the first time, that this practice is designed to help you, as I just said, to cultivate resilience, to be able to move through the world with more presence, awareness, balance, and flow, staying energized, staying vital, taking care of yourself, and at the same time, increasing the capacity of fierce compassion, where we have, in a way that doesn't burn us out or wear us out, be able to take more beings into our heart in this process of understanding the inevitability of global interconnectedness and interdependence. So as always, sitting in a way where your body is loose and your spine is straight without being rigid. Making space in your vertebrae. Elongating the back of your neck, so tucking in your chin a little bit. Relax your jaw, your shoulders, your belly. Have a sit. Remembering there's no right way to do this practice or wrong way. It's about finding your way with this. And the more you do this practice in a mindful and with awareness, the more you rewire your nervous system, your neural pathways to create this habit so you can walk this into the world that we're doing now. With ease, effortlessness, increasing your impact and influence, and capacity to benefit not only yourself, but others. Bringing your attention to your core and your lower belly, the width of 3 fingers below your navel, or a third of the way into the body. So if you want to investigate that, if you put your fingers together, you place your index finger over your navel, where your pinky resides, that's the width of 3 fingers below your navel. Focus on that point, bringing your awareness inside of your body, about a third of the way into the body, coming to a point that I call your core, your center of gravity, impulse, creativity, gut wisdom, awareness, personal power. With this now opening to a deeper level of awareness from your center, become aware of your contact points, the parts of your body that are connecting with the ground, what you're sitting on, chair. Feeling the stability under you from those points. Training your body to know that it can trust that stability so it can drop in, letting your nervous system and your whole self be held. Supported by Mother Earth. considering that the less violent, the less or the more non-violent of amongst us are the ones who have this connection with the earth. We know the stability, the security, the safety that Mother Earth provides. Those of us who have wandered into cities and lost connection with that, maybe we're the ones who are the most furthest from our non-violence. The fear of not feeling a connection, not feeling hurt. From your now taking time to become aware of yourself in this present moments, from your center, become aware of your physical body. Simply listen, let the body speak to you. And it's vocabulary. From your center, become aware of your emotional body. Without judgment, simply observing what emotions are present to you right now. Gathering that information as well. From your center, become aware of your mental body, your thoughts, quality of your thoughts. Part of you that is awareness is observing your thoughts. Maintaining a connection to your core, your personal power is a foundation of this practice. Now bringing awareness to the middle of your chest, your heart center, where your heart power resides. Compassion, respect, curiosity. From your center and from your heart, become aware of that part of you which has access to something larger than yourself. Where in the body is that for you? Is it in the body? Is it outside of the body? Is it around the body? Is it somehow in alignment with the body? From that part of you, becoming aware of your connection in this moment to something larger than yourself. How does that connection feel? With this connection with yourself, now expanding that out in all directions to your personal boundaries, filling your personal space with awareness. Behind you, above you. And with the sense of self in this present moment, from your center and from your heart, take a full breath in. With this sense of self from your center and from your heart, become aware of your surroundings, the space you're in, placing yourself in a context, keeping your eyes closed, observing sounds, smells. Anchor yourself in this present moment, in this space. This awareness of self and surroundings from your center and from your heart. Take a full breath in. This awareness of self and surroundings from your center and from your heart. Become aware of those in this meditation circle. As if sitting in a circle, or imagining people at different acupuncture points around the planet, various parts of North America, sweet contingency from Europe, especially Italy, this morning or afternoon, the other parts of the world. From your center and from your heart, expanding your awareness to connect with theirs, honoring respect. Flow emotions to flow. It's awareness of self, surroundings, and others from your center and from your heart. Take a full breath in. Maintaining this connection with those in this meditation circle, fellow practitioners. From your center and from your heart, become aware of all human beings. First, beginning with those human beings you would label loved ones. Who arises in your heart? What faces do you see? Why these faces? Why these loved ones? What might they be needing in this moment? Or what might you be needing in this moment? Consider with a sense of humbleness how limited your view is of them, regardless of how well you know them. Simply from this perspective, my truth does not equal the truth. Consider in this moment a limited perspective. Increasing within your heart the excitement of the possibility to learn more. Increasing your compassion, increasing your curiosity. Just imagine in your heart singing towards them, oh, the beautiful things we can learn together. From your center and from your heart, becoming aware of those human beings you would label stranger. Who arises in your heart? What faces do you see of groups of people? It could be a neighbor, someone on the road, someone you saw in the news or in the paper. How many strangers can you hold in your heart at this moment? And why them? What are they needing in this moment? And what might you be needing? And again, considering as you stand face to face the humility, the humbleness of, oh, my view of you is limited. And what a joy to consider what I can learn. Increasing in your heart your compassion, curiosity, what we can learn from each other. Allowing energy to flow and emotions to flow. And from your center and from your heart, becoming aware of those human beings who would label adversary. Who arises in your heart? What faces do you see? Groups of people? Why these people? What are you needing in this moment by this? What are they needing from you? And as you stand face to face, looking them in the eye with your personal power and heart, connecting with honor and respect with their personal power and heart, just acknowledging in your heart, oh, how my view of you is so limited. Seeing if you can muster up within your heart the curiosity and the compassion for these beings as well. And considering, oh, what we can learn from each other. With this spirit of activating in every human being's heart this sense of compassion, curiosity, desire to learn, to overcome our limited views of how we perceive reality. Imagine all of us holding that in our hearts. That desire, that conviction. And with that sense of conviction from your center and from your heart, take a full breath in. honor and respect, allowing all human beings to flow into your heart as you bring your awareness back to those in this meditation circle. Reverence, joy, with gratitude that we get to share in this practice together. Allowing those in this meditation circle to flow into your heart as you bring your awareness back to your surroundings. With gratitude, acknowledging your surroundings, allow that to flow into your heart as you bring your awareness back to yourself. Just taking a good, honest look at yourself and considering how your view of yourself is perhaps limited as well. And in your heart, mustering up the curiosity and the compassion and singing to yourself, oh, the things that we can learn from each other. Allowing the benefits of this practice to now flow into every cell of your body, enlivening and igniting every cell, flowing into your organs to nurture your organs, feed your organs, heal your organs. Into your nervous system as a way to remember this practice so you can walk this into the world. And lastly, letting the benefits of this seep into your core like a battery, charging your battery in your lower belly. Be able to move through the day fully charged, energized. As a way to close this practice, let's take one final breath in through your nose, and through your mouth. When you're ready, slowly open your eyes. Look around the room. Shake your body, stretch your body. So we started with a motivation, we did our practice, now we have time to reflect. Anybody want to share what your thoughts are or feelings are on what I shared to start with or in the practice? First of all, Eleanor, thank you for being here. It's great to have you join us.
Don't know how to say yes. Hi. Hi, everybody. Oh. Hi.
Hey. Eleanor,
Sorry, I was too busy listening. I was listening, so it was such a beautiful meditation, and then realized I didn't put the video on. Sorry. Hi, everybody. I'm lying down. I'm doing the meditation on my back.
Eleanor, you have a neighbor. Alessandro's here from Livorno.
Where? Which one, Alessandro? Let me see. Alessandro, wave. Ciao. Ma siamo proprio vicini?
Ma sì, tu dove sei?
Sono in Pomaia.
Ah, incredibile, pazzesco, io
Sì.
sono a Livorno. Pomaia.
Siamo 20 minuti di distanza. Allora saluti tutti da Italy.
Okay, ciao.
I'm planning to come and visit you both. So
we are waiting for you.
Yes.
So thank you. Good to have. Anybody want to share your experience or your thoughts?
I would, yes, I am really appreciative of you exploring this with us today. This has been coming up for me in a pretty big way, especially the last few days. And I find that when I'm in conversation with someone who's really strongly like embodying maybe their truth as the truth, I find myself getting caught up in that, you know, that kind of push and pull and that polarity. And I'm struggling to find something else to take its place. Like I understand that my truth isn't the truth. And even when I lean into that, I don't feel like I have a more updated something to hold on to. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yes, and yeah. Can I share something?
Yes, I would love that.
I mean, it's a resilience practice. It's a courageous practice to be able to be in that level of not knowing. There are things that are true. It's just not the totality of it. So, and there are things that you can believe to be true, but it's just I would say it starts with just the wording. You know, you could say, I believe this to be true, which is different from saying this is true.
Mm-hmm.
You can have a personal philosophy. In fact, you need a personal philosophy. You need to be clear on for you what is right or wrong, what is ethical or not, what is harmful, what's beneficial. And you need to clarify that for yourself in a very strong way, simply knowing that Because then you wake up in the morning and say, this is my personal philosophy today. And I feel secure that I can make decisions based on that and find my security and stability in that. Knowing that as I grow and learn and develop, tomorrow it may be different, slightly different. So that's again, it's not this or that. There's still the softness in it, right? I can be it's not rigid, but I can be very resolute in what I believe. And I certainly am. Knowing that as life happens, I'm going to have, that will adapt and shift.
Yeah.
Does that help at all?
Yeah, it does. Thank you.
Tim?
At first this morning, thinking about applying this in this era of fake news and what is right and what we know to be sort of terra firma or not. But then also your words around, would you rather be right or would you rather be part of making some fundamental change happen really resonate. And, this tit for tat sort of fighting over the truth isn't productive, and maybe what is more is aligning on what is the vision of the world we want to live in, right? And trying to align on that rather than fighting everyone's version of the facts.
Beautifully said. Thank you. Imagine what we can do with all that money that goes into fighting over the facts. Anyone else?
I just want to say that it's like I feel like I need to hold the heart of another person, whether their heart is open or not. Like I need to hold that energy. That this person is whole. They may not know that they're whole. They may not know that they even have a loving heart in there. But that I feel like I need to hold that inside myself for anybody I'm in relationship with.
Beautiful, Tia. Thank you. That's a great. That's a commitment. That's a belief. That's that's true to you. It's a life philosophy. It's a life aspiration. So please keep going. And the beauty of it is that really the one who benefits from that is you. Just makes it easy to be around people if you hold that. It's not changing that person at all, really. Anyone else? Okay. Well, thank you. Thank you for listening. Thank you for coming. It's so good to see your faces. So just to let you know, we're getting closer to this book finally coming out, Fierce Civility. I'm sure you've heard of it. Phew. We're in the final stages. But, as things keep unfolding in the world, it keeps testing me to keep up with what's happening and try to keep the book relevant and present. But I'm excited, and I have a beautiful team. Todd, of course, is really helpful with that, and Jackie, who's here, is helping with that from Ireland, who lives in Ireland, and other people who are now getting engaged. Yeah, it's exciting. So start talking to people about it. We'll start advertising it. Make sure you get your copy, of course. We'll have the opportunities for that. I may want to do a book launching thing in the DC area. So for those of you in the DC area, it might be nice to actually meet in person sometime. I've mentioned that before, now that we can. Anybody have any last words or announcements? Todd, do we have any announcements or anything that needs to be shared? As always, if you want to make a donation for these sessions, you can. At a moment, maybe you can add the link. All of that is going towards financing the book. from our illustrious team of people working on it.
Just to give people an idea as to what financing the book means. We have a cover design that's being worked on. We have a person doing layout. We have an editor. We have outreach to media. And the more dollars that we get in, we're going to have enough to get the book out into the world. But the more dollars that come in, the more money we have to get that book out into the world. The outreach is significant expense. And if you don't have dollars or euros to donate, there's other ways you can get the book out to the world. So we'll talk more about that as the summer comes to an end.
And if you know people who you think might be interested in endorsing, who have a little bit of name recognition or whatever, please feel free to get in touch. Interesting connections into that the realm of building bridges, et cetera, et cetera. So great. So we started with our motivation. We did our practice. Now let's do a dedication. So in honoring what I always say, the statistical miracle that the 15 of us have come together, of the almost 8 billion people on this planet, that this 15 have come together at this time in this space, to me means something. That what we have generated here has already had a beneficial impact, spreading out through the World Wide Web, leaving a golden thread of lasting peace around the world. May the benefits of what we have created help others find within themselves their own sense of liberation and freedom, whatever that means for them, inspiring others to find within themselves the same. As the world seems like more and more restrictions and oppression, still hold on to our own personal liberation within that. As always, may all creatures on this planet have enough fresh water to drink and food to eat. And may all governments and world leaders govern from a place of wisdom and compassion, as opposed to fear and greed. But I thank you all. Thank you all. It's great to see you. See you next week. Tell people about this, as I always say. Bring along someone new. See if this resonates with them. Feel free to get in touch at any time if you're feeling like you have any questions or need support. We're here. I'm here. And have a wonderful week. Bye, everyone.